Bobby Hebert, after the Saints-Buccaneers game, let's go ahead and listen to the Cajun Cannon's rant after one of the worst performances I have ever seen in person, thanks to the New Orleans Saints.
Well, I think the Saints pulled the wool over my eye. They bamboozled me. And I
feel bamboozled as well, Bobby. I'm not going to lie. I feel pretty bamboozled as well. I thought this team was going to win the NFC. I thought this team could have been the 1 seed. I thought this team could win the NFC South. I thought this team was one of the 4 best teams in the NFC. Wow. What a clown I am. I could not have been more wrong. We were both bamboozled. This team tricked us. Dennis Allen tricked us. Pete Carmichael tricked us because we believed that they could get better, that they could improve. But, you know, Dennis Allen is who we thought he was. Pete Carmichael is who he has been for 17 years, which is some guy masquerading as an offensive coordinator. Sad.
be optimistic. I was optimistic.
Yep, same.
After this outing in front of the home folks. But, you know, as of late, the home folks, we haven't had good showings. The reason why I'm going to talk about this, because if you look at it, okay, don't field advantage. We want the don't field advantage. You know, of the last 18 games, you know how many we've lost? Now, you'd think, I don't know, if you're really rolling in
Last 18 home games, I'll guess 7.
the Superdome, what, we'd be 14-4? Well, out of the last 18 contests, we've lost 11 games. Now, this is dating back to the COVID year. The 2020 NFC Divisional Playoff loss of all teams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No, they definitely were not the Succaneers today, to say the least. And you know what's puzzling, because I guess it's cyclical. For a team that played, 11 one-score games a year ago, and, you know, you figured to be involved in a lot of cliffhanger games this season, and maybe have that don't field advantage. There's no way you can have a don't field advantage if you lose 26-9. You really didn't have anything to cheer about.
We could have played on Mars, and it wouldn't have mattered. I'm not sure why we're talking about the dome field advantage. It had nothing to do with it. We could have honestly played anywhere. We could have played in Dumbledore's castle in Harry Potter's universe. We could have played outside on the street. We could have played on Mars. We could have played in London. We could have played anywhere on the planet, any timeline, any universe, anywhere. Doesn't matter. The only place that would have made a difference is if we actually would have played the entire game inside the end zone, because then at least the Saints would know what the end zone was like. Because unless we start the game in the end zone, the Saints aren't getting there.
About if you're a fan. And, you know, we get kind of spoiled because when you're used to having the don't field advantage, you know, we view it as one of the most feared venues in the NFL.
This isn't what this video is about, but this gets a huge, or this idea is super overblown and overrated. Like, think about the home field advantage. Like, people talk about these home field advantages for these stadiums. And it's interesting because most of the time, it also is at the exact same time that team is good, right? Like Seattle. Seattle was the best home field advantage forever, or for a stretch there, whenever the Legion of Boom was there. The Saints had the Superdome advantage whenever Drew Brees was there. Lambeau Field was an advantage when Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre were there. The dome field advantage doesn't exist when the team is ass. The Seattle home field advantage doesn't exist if the team isn't good. No one is saying Lambeau Field is the same place it was when Rodgers and Favre was there. People kind of blend that, like, man, what an insane home field advantage. But most of the time, the home field advantage comes from the fans being excited, the team being good, the fans in the stadium believing. That's what it comes from. The building doesn't have magical powers.
Oh. But not as of late. Not so fast. If you look, I don't know, it was COVID or whatever it's been, but the last 8...
It's kind of funny because he's like, I don't know if it was COVID, I don't know. Maybe it's that the team got worse. Maybe it coincides with Drew Brees not being there anymore. Maybe it coincides with Sean Payton not being there anymore. The structure of the building didn't change. Like, the dome is still there. The roof is the same. The people are the same. I wonder what could have changed since 2020. Oh, I know. Sean Payton, the greatest coach in the team's history, and Drew Brees, the greatest player in the team's history, both left.
18 games of whom we've lost 11. So think about that. So we're like 7 wins, 11 losses the last 18 games at home. That's what, are we the Bears? Are we the Chicago
We're worse than the
Bears?
We're worse than the Bears. I've been talking so much smack about the Bears last couple of weeks. Justin Fields threw 4 touchdown passes yesterday. We have scored 4 touchdowns on offense the entire season. Justin Fields is mocking us. The Bears are laughing at us. I would rather be the Bears right now than the Saints. That's how I feel. I would rather be the Bears because I would rather just be bad. And I would rather have, right now, if the season ended right now, the Bears have the 1st and the 2nd overall picks next year. Would you rather be the Saints, who are sitting here doing nothing, sitting here with our teeth in our mouth, not doing nothing? Or would you rather be the Bears, who are staring at Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr.? That's how bad it is that I'm jealous of the Bears.
When you look at it now, not so fast, because you know why? To show you how football is. In the 4-year span from 2017 to 20, and then 2008 and 11, that's recently what we've witnessed, the modern-day Saints fan. We had won 25 of 32 home games during that stretch.
What are we talking about?
From 2011 and 18, they had home winning streaks of 6, 6, 7, 8, and 11 games. And if you look at it, again,
what does this have to do with Tampa Bay?
17 to 20 to COVID. The Saints were one of the NFL's best teams. They won 49 regular season games, more than any other franchise in that span.
Yeah, we had Drew Brees.
Reeling off 4 straight division championships.
We had Sean Payton.
How far do we feel from there right now? Okay, like you look at since COVID.
This isn't a breaking news. We have been bad since Drew Brees left. We have been bad since the Drew Brees, Sean Payton thing was gone. We've been terrible. We were terrible with Andy Dalton and Trevor Siemian and Jameis Winston and Taysom. The last couple of years, we've been a joke. And this year, I'm drinking the hopium, believing that Dennis Allen isn't what his record says he is, that Pete Carmichael can figure out how to plug his headphone in. I'm not even sure how he figures out how to drive to the stadium. I really don't. He's got to take an Uber. There's no way he could figure out how to navigate his way to the stadium. I got tricked. We have look. The algorithm is simple. It has nothing to do with the dome. It is we have not replaced Drew Brees and Sean Payton. That's it. It's 4 games. Derek Carr is not the answer. Derek Carr isn't even Andy Dalton right now. I said that before the season. I said, I don't know. It could just be an Andy Dalton. Wow. I hate being right all the time. I hope he proves me wrong, but he hasn't so far. It's 4 games. At some point, guys and girls, we've got to quit saying, well, there's this excuse. The offensive line. The interception should have been a fumble. Whatever. There can't be an excuse. Like I heard people talking about the interception that happened in the Bucs game, that they ended up calling on the 1 when it should have been a touchback. It should have been a touchback. Who cares? It had nothing to do with us never scoring. It had nothing to do with us having 2 plays in the red zone. Derek Carr is getting used to his wide receivers. At some point, you have to have more than 3 yards a play. Your YPP has to be better. We had 197 total yards at home. I was watching Sunday Night Football last night. The Kansas City Chiefs had 200 yards with 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. I know we're not the Chiefs, but we're not even close to playing the same football as these other teams.
I think we still got COVID or something. I don't know how we playing, because normally we've had Tampa Bay's number. And when I say this, we have the highest winning percentage against any NFL opponent. We win 63% of the time. Well, we had no chance. To show you how bad it was, they had 11 penalties, 91 yards. Usually that's a touchdown. Okay, so let's add a touchdown. We still lost 26-17 instead of 27. You know, even with the penalties working on our behalf as far as Tampa Bay having 11.
That hurts.
For 91 yards, that even if you give us the touchdown, because that's usually what it comes about, we still didn't have a chance to win.
Bobby, we can't
So
score.
now you look,
We can't move the football.
Against the Pewter Pirates, we 39-24. You know, what have you done for me lately? And going into this game, we got swept by Tampa Bay last season.
Right.
For the first time since 2007.
I may have a heart attack right now. Listen to this. What do you think the difference is, ladies and gentlemen, with the Buccaneers last year compared to 2007? Does anyone in the audience want to try and figure out what possibly could have changed that flipped that narrative? Yeah, James, go ahead. They had Tom Brady. Correct. They had Tom Brady. That's why I don't understand why we talk about these old records. Of course, the Saints' record is going to be sweet the entire time Drew Brees and Sean Payton were there. The Saints were sweet. Of course, the Buccaneers' record is going to flip whenever Tom Brady was there. They won a Super Bowl.
This is pre-Super Bowl. And now we've lost 3 in a row. So when you look at that, that's not a good outing. Now, I know all the time we 21-14, but what have you done for me lately? No, there's nothing to write home about. I guess when it rains, it pours. And I don't know, in this modern day and age, I mean, don't you have to score? I mean,
yes.
Now, we finally gave up more than 20 points, so that record finally stops. You know, because they were able to get 26. But you look at under Dennis Allen, okay, where are we at right now?
Here we go. Now, this is what I want to hear.
You got to score or move the football. If somebody told me we had 197 total yards, I said, oh, yeah, at half. We probably got that at half. Oh,
no, whole game.
Whole game? No, that was the whole game, not half. The Saints are 1-5 overall. I should say now they 1-6. They were 1-5 overall when Dennis Allen, when having under 300 total yards, that them being the Saints. So now we're 1-6. Even though we got a, overall we think top 10 defense, even though they didn't play like that today. And when they
This is a great example of why you got to score and why we can have the best defense in the world. I say this every week when we do the power rankings with the Cowboys and the Browns and whoever. This is not 1985. This is not where you can have a really good defense and that just carries you to wins. You don't win games in the NFL without scoring. I know a lot of people will always say defense wins championships. I know a lot of people hate this notion that the game is changing. The game is changing. The offenses are too fast. They're too good. The players are too good. You cannot hold offenses down forever. The Saints defense is as good as they are. At some point, the offense has to score. At some point, we have to start playing offense. We had 197 total yards. Alvin Kamara had 13 receptions for 33 yards. That is almost impossible. You know how hard it is to get 13 receptions and not have over 35 yards? It honestly is harder to do than getting... It's harder to get 13 for 33 than 13 for 250.
They don't play like a top 10 defense. We have no chance. So the Saints defense, for instance, versus Green Bay and Tampa Bay, okay, this is when I'll say, do we truly have a kick-ass defense week in and week out?
Yes.
I'd say, what have you done for me lately? No.
That's a brutal assessment when the Saints defense just held their opponents under 21 points for whatever it was, 11 straight games. And because of the Tampa game, you're going to say we don't have a kick-ass defense? That's crazy. The defense is obviously really good. They weren't lights out today, sure. But again, you can't expect them to be on the field that much. You can't expect the field position battle to be swung that much and the defense to hold up every game.
Against Green Bay and Tampa Bay, they combined 52% on third down. They were 16 of 31 And it's been like this in back-to-back games because it just shows you. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, the first 2 games, it was flipped. We were doing excellent on third down defense, amongst the best in the league. I want to say we're number 2, but not the last 2 games. And then offensively, we weren't great, but we were very good.
Anybody want to guess why that could be? Anybody? Yeah. Oh, that's right. The first 2 games we played Ryan Tannehill and Bryce Young. Of course they're going to be worse on third down. Not that Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield are great, but they're better than Tannehill and Bryce Young.
Well, today, now, back-to-back games, obviously we disappointed. Look at the Bucs. They were 8 of 15, 53%. We were 5 of 14,
God.
36%. To say the least, it's not winning football. I don't know. You want to be entertained as a fan. You go to a game. I think you want to win. I don't know, fans. We all LSU fans, Saints fans, Tulane fans. I don't know. Would you much rather lose in a shootout, kind of like with LSU and Ole Miss, if you're an LSU fan?
That was at least entertaining.
Yes. Versus, I don't know what I'm going to cheer for. We kicked 3 field goals.
Yay.
Now, if we won 9-8,
that's different.
Yeah,
sure.
It's different. But not 26-9. The Saints have not scored a touchdown in the last 100 minutes plus. This is the NFL. You're supposed to be prolific weapons.
Pete. The team is terrible.
Pete, Derek Carr, everybody has a hand in this. The offensive line.
Yes.
But we have not scored a touchdown. You got to go back to Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah, do offensive.
Punt return in the second quarter.
Do offensive. That's what I'm saying. Like Shaheed got us the punt return, but our offense, they are lost. I don't know how we've taken, well, I do know, how we've gone this far backwards. We went from being a bad offense to we are far and away the worst offense in the NFL. It isn't even close. And when you have Derek Carr and you have Michael Thomas and Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara and Rashid Shaheed, that cannot be the case. I was watching the Raiders game in the afternoon slot, Raiders-Chargers. The Raiders quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, I think is his name. I might not even have that right. He's a rookie quarterback. He's playing as Garoppolo's hurt. He threw a pass. It was like a 12-yard first down, like an out route to Devontae Adams. And I remember audibly being like, whoa. Because I was after watching the Saints, I'm just not used to seeing people complete those passes. I'm just not used to seeing the ball going downfield. Watching him throw a 12-yard out route to Devontae Adams, I felt like I was watching a Hail Mary. I felt like I was watching the longest pass I've ever seen in my life. When is the last time you've seen that in the Saints game? When is the last time you've seen Derek Carr drop back, step up, and let it rip for 15, 16 yards? Everything is at the line of scrimmage. Everything.
Green Bay. So we basically, you know how we sing, we haven't given up a touchdown in all these quarters. Well, now it's flipped.
Now we're not scoring them.
Now our offense can't score a damn touchdown. No, I'm dejected right now. I'm disheartened.
I'm sickened.
Double-digit wins. Right now, you play like this, it might be a repeat of last year, and you're hovering around 500. So
we're worse. We are worse than last year.
7 and 10. There's 8 and 9, 9 and 8. Not good enough. If they go 8 and 9, 9 and 8, everybody got to go.
Sorry. They already got to go.
That's not living up to expectations, considering the expectations from the organization and the fan.
Fired Dennis Allen. Fired Pete Carmichael today.
So no, it's because I'm telling you, the quarterback matchups. Was Tom Brady still playing for the Bucs
last year?
No, like today.
Oh,
I thought it was Tom Brady out there. We made Baker Mayfield. It's like the second coming. He's risen from the dead.
He's beat us back-to-back times now. Last year with Carolina and now with Tampa this
season. But Carolina,
season.
He didn't play.
Exactly. There was nothing to write home with there. He was good here.
He played excellent today. 117
Baker was
quarterback
good.
rating, 25 of 32. Efficient 246 yards and went 346. Now, I know he had that interception. He threw 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, the pick was bad.
But compared to Derek Carr, 23 of 37, 127 yards. Again, that was 9.5. That was the complete game for Derek Carr, a quarterback rating of 68 when you look at it. I thought Rashid Shaheed came close to maybe breaking one punt return. He had 2 punt returns. He had that 29 long gain that punter for Tampa Bay, he was punting line drives. I think they might have punting problems like sometimes we think with Headley, and not having confidence where the ball is going to end up. I'd say the one defensive player that did show up, and I think he's getting better.
P. Warner was good. The defense was fine. The defense was good. The defense is not the issue. The issue is we are playing like a 1945 offense. We might as well just run the wing T. Implement the triple option. This team can't move the football. We cannot score. We have scored 4 touchdowns on the season. We're 4 games in. I've seen enough. The sample size is big enough where I can say, fire Pete Carmichael, fire Dennis Allen, Derek Carr's not the answer, blow it up and rebuild. I'm envious of the Bears.
Better. I think he got a penalty in the game, but the game is well out of hand. Brian Brzee.
Yeah, he was
He
good.
ended up with 4 total tackles. He had a sack. He had a quarterback hurry and 2 tackles for loss. So I don't know. I want to give the game ball to the fans for showing up for this garbage. I mean, look at that.
The game ball.
They want to cheer. They want to give you that don't feel advantage. But
Get the game ball out of here.
Don't feel advantage.
Who wants the game ball after this?
You can't be well under 500 in the dome. And again, that is a big sample size. That is the last 18 games. It's not, that's 2 or 3. The last 18 games, we've only won 7.
The team is garbage. It's been bad since Peyton and Breeze left.
You can't say the fans are there, but you got to give them something to cheer for. Pete Warner led the team in tackles with 8, 5 unassisted. Malcolm Roach, I think Roach does his role, quarterback hurry. He had a tackle for loss. You know who's not showing up?
The whole offense.
I'm not saying they're old. Just look at the last 2 games. And when I'm talking about impact plays, what has DeMario Davis and Cam Jordan done?
Unless they plan on playing quarterback, unless DeMario Davis plans on playing running back and Cam Jordan's going to play offense, and one of them is simultaneously wearing the headset and calling plays, I don't really care. Because DeMario Davis and Cam Jordan are the least of my worries. The least of my worries right now watching the Saints.
And this might be good for some other player, but not considered the best of the best and legends, living legends still playing. DeMario Davis had 5 tackles, 2 unassisted. Cam had 4 tackles. He did have a quarterback hurry, but no, like Carl Granderson with impact. He had 4 total tackles. No, we got whooped by Tampa Bay. We got manhandled by Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And, when you look at the schedule and all that, I had thought, well, we only 2-2, and you acting like the sky is falling. But
it
it's
is
how
falling.
You lose.
Yeah, well said, Bobby. The way we lost in Green Bay, getting blanked basically at home, cannot score. Offense has been putrid for 4 straight games. Blowing the lead in Green Bay, never even having a close to a chance at home against Tampa. Should have lost to Carolina. Almost blew that game. Won by 1 against Tennessee. And now we go on the road to New England and Houston. We're 2-2 right now. You think the sky is falling now? What if we drop? New England just got rolled today by Dallas. What was it, 31-3, 36-3 or something? If we go up to New England and lose, which you easily could, and if we lose to Houston, Houston's way better than us right now. CJ Stroud looks like Joe Montana compared to Derek Carr. If we're 2-4, coming back to play the Jaguars, you think the sky is falling now? Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you this. You can write this down. We are 3 weeks away from playing. At that time, we will have played in New England, in Houston, and at Jacksonville at home. If we're 2-5, we'll go from the 1 seed, NFC South champions, all that conversation. That will flip, and we will be in the conversation for a top 5 pick in the draft. Or we'll be one of the 5 worst teams. However you want to phrase it. That's how fast this can flip. We have got to get this ship, because I think part of us right now is kind of like, LOL, we'll get it fixed and we'll still win 10 games. What have you seen from this team that has made you believe that any of it could be fixed? I haven't seen anything that makes me think, okay, we just kind of fix this, we fix that, we'll be fine. I have seen nothing that makes me think that's true. Think about how much better we will have to be. Think about how much better we have to be than what we've been for the past 4 games. I mean, think about it. We can't even score 21 points. We're having trouble scoring 10 points. We haven't scored over 20 points all season. So the idea, like, oh, we'll just get it figured out. We'll beat in New England. We'll beat Houston. We'll be 4-2, going, playing Jacksonville. I'm telling you right now, we are staring at 2-5.
When you blow a 17-point lead with 12 minutes left, and then you lay an egg like you did in front of the home folks in the Dome, hell yeah, you should be concerned. Oh, yes. Well, instead of always, because I always do this, instead of looking at the glass half full, damn it, I'm looking at it half empty.
We don't even have a glass right now.
I was hoping we'd be 3-1, if not
4-0. Agreed. Same.
Now we think we have the advantage at quarterback over the opposing quarterback. Well, there wasn't no advantage with Derek Carr. I know he's maybe playing with a hurt shoulder. You know what I thought? Let me get this. I got this somewhere on my notes right here. I thought a big play to start the game. We went, if you look at it, we went 11 plays, 56 yards. We were winning 3-0. Okay, I felt good about that.
I did too.
But all of a sudden,
I said this, and I'll say it again. The first 2 drives I thought were pretty good. I thought Pete called it pretty good. And what do I always say? The first drive, sometimes the first 2 drives are scripted. They're going to be your best drives normally because they're scripted. You know the plays. You don't have to adjust anything. Everyone knows what's going on. And we were super creative. There was motion all over the place. There was pre-snap motion. People were everywhere. We were doing all kind of stuff. After those 2 drives, it all went away. It all went completely gone, like just totally gone, which proves, again, Pete cannot adjust in the game. He cannot call a game.
Tampa Bay, they don't score. They had a 3rd and 16. They had to end up punting. We had a 3rd and 9 situation when Derek Carr missed Prentice, the fullback.
Okay, this play, so I've heard a lot of people talking about the fullback, talking about how the fullback should have made the catch. This is another personnel question I have for Pistol Pete. If the fullback is in the backfield and he's not strictly pass blocking, if he's running a route, if he's a pass catching option, if he's down on the sidelines, why is he in the game? Why is a running back not out there? Why is Alvin Kamara not in? Why is Kendra Miller not in? Why is Tony Jones Jr. not in? I understand if the fullback is there to pass block. This cat is at the sideline ready to run. Why is the fullback in? What is the package? What is the personnel? What is going on?
He'd have ran for days. Talk about big plays and not hitting on him. The guy who was supposed to be guarding him, I was talking with Deuce about this. The guy who was supposed to be guarding Adam Prentice, he just left him and started rushing, and he was wide open. Somebody might eventually caught him, but he could have ran for days. There was nobody out there. You got to. It's not high school or little league. You got to hit that. You got to hit that 100%.
But why is he out there?
Not 9 out of 10. It has to be 10 out of 10. And that's when it started to go downhill. Because you know what else happened after that? Okay, we punted to them. It was a 3rd and 7 situation. Boy, a great break on the ball. He ended up hurting his hamstring. Remember Lonnie Johnson Jr. dropped the interception?
Right there.
And that's all the momentum at the beginning of the games. Those are the plays that you have to make. And it just seemed like from that time on, it went downhill. And
I'll tell you when it went downhill. When Pete Carmichael did this, watch. This is when it went downhill. When Pete Carmichael grabbed his headset and he went, that's it. Game was over. When he turned his headset on, pulled the mouthpiece down, and started to do whatever he does, that's when it went downhill. That's exactly when.
All of a sudden, you look at, okay, right before the half, and you all, fired up, and what's going to come about. Great interception by Isaac Yadam.
Yeah, that was very nice.
Okay, then all of a sudden we +1 in the turnover margin. And then Adam Prentice. That had to be his worst. He's never going to show his grandkids this game.
No.
Adam Prentice fumbles. And so all of a sudden, now instead of going at halftime and we're losing 7-3, it's like 14-3. And you want to talk about momentum? Look.
Well, 14 is also an insurmountable lead for us to come back. There's no way. There's not enough quarters in the game. There's not enough minutes in the game for us to come back from a 14-point deficit or an 11-point deficit at that point. Too many. The idea of us scoring 2 touchdowns is insane enough. So, yeah, 14-3, game's pretty much over.
We had only 43 yards since the first drive to go at halftime. This is a press box that after 3 quarters, I want to say that that Baker Mayfield had more passing yards than we had total yards. So you think about, like offense, what are you doing as a team? So,
LOL.
Talking about not clicking on all cylinders.
0 cylinders.
It's like we didn't even get out the garage.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't even start the car. I mean, it was that disheartening, discouraging because
that was a good pun there.
Okay,
couldn't start the car.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Derek Carr didn't think about that. Very nice, Bobby.
The thing is, you accept certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay ain't going nowhere. Tampa Bay is not going anywhere. Now,
I'll tell you where they're going. They're going straight to the top of the NFC South. They're going to the playoffs. They're winning the division. They're hosting a playoff game. That's where they're going.
Happened, let's say, I won't say the Cowgirls. I'm not going to say that. But if this would have been, let's say, like the 49ers or the Chiefs or whoever you think is the handful amongst the best of the best.
Right.
Well, I could honestly, they just better than us. They just way better than us, but that's not the case. I think Tampa Bay is middle of the pack, like average. So where does that make us now?
Bad.
Playoffs.
Well, guys, I'm telling y'all, this is the sky is falling situation. We have the worst offense in the NFL, number 32. So if we have the 12th best defense, 10th best defense, that equals like a bottom 10 team. This team, the way they're playing, the way they have played this season, this is not a top 10 team. This is not a top 16 team. This is not a top half team. There has to be a tremendous shift for this team to be good. Like, I agree. I don't think Tampa Bay's that good. And I thought the Saints were good. I thought the Saints had the pieces to be a really good team. Playing like this, we are like, think whoever you think are the worst teams in the NFL. Think about them. I would say those teams are Chicago, Houston, Indianapolis, Carolina. We're right there. Denver. We're in that conversation. We're better than Carolina. I would say we've so far this season we've showed we're better than Carolina. But even though the record is different, I'm not sure if we've showed we're that much better than Chicago or Denver. If we were playing Denver next week, I would think it'd be pretty evenly matched.
Whoa. There's nothing to write home about. And it ain't going to get any easier. You know why? For our offense? Now,
on the road.
That's one thing. I don't know what they could do against Dallas, that being the Patriots. But the Patriots got a kick-ass defense, and we got to go to the road at New England. Then we're going to go at the road. Oh, Houston, Texas. We're going to be Houston, Texas. But look how well C.J. Stroud's playing.
They're scoring points.
Very discouraging loss and very disheartening. Everybody needs to look in the mirror as an individual player. What more can I do to help this team win and not point the finger? Players, coaches, whatever it might be. This is a Michael Thomas game. I thought this would happen. 6 targets, 4 catches, 53 yards.
He hasn't even mentioned Olave, who had 1 catch in a 15-point home loss. He had 1 reception. How does that happen?
No, to me.
Right.
This is unbelievable. If you would have told me Alvin Kamara's got
13 receptions. If you told me Alvin Kamara has 13 receptions, I would say he's got 180 yards receiving. 33 yards receiving. How is that even possible?
14 targets and 13 catches. Oh, he must have had a big game. He had 33 yards. He averaged 2.5 yards a catch on 13 catches.
That's
about
crazy.
Swarming the ball and not letting him get started.
Nothing to do with swarming the ball. It's about throwing the ball at the line of scrimmage. I almost had 30 yards receiving. I didn't play. I had one less catch than Chris Olave, and I wasn't even wearing cleats.
And then Chris Olave. What? Was he in the doghouse this week? What the hell happened? That 6 targets. At the beginning, he only had 1, and then only 1 catch for 4 yards. No, the Saints right now, they might have a lot of weapons, but those weapons aren't always showing up. Nothing
is showing up. I mean, think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone in the comments, everyone watching this, had 1 less catch than Chris Olave. Let me know in the comments below what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Disheartening loss. I mean, the sky is falling. This is not good. The Saints have this week. I mean, they got some real thinking to do. They got to figure some stuff out. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.